The husband and I had the local security company install inside and outside cameras when we moved. Our 2-plus-year-old son had an obsession with opening doors, so we thought we would install one camera in the living room for peace of mind. The camera is behind the couch, close to the corner where I sit and knit, cross-stitch, etc. You can see most of the room still, and you can see when someone enters it. It's installed high enough that even if you crawl, we can still see you. So, I'm sitting there attempting to knit a hat. It's about 11 p.m. Hubby and son are in bed, but I'm feeling wide awake still. I'm geeking out at how terrible the hat looks. Frustrated, but it did look terrible. I remember thinking, I'll decide tomorrow whether to finish this disaster. I throw it in my basket next to the couch and leave to go get ready for bed. Next morning, the son goes to Granny's. My husband and I decide to wake and bake after brunch, getting ready to eat some gummies. I'm like, oh, would you bring my knitting project, because that would be bomb to knit while stoned. He brings it out and I'm dumbfounded. He hands me a fully completed hat. It was almost perfect. I was shocked. Has he learned how to knit and then knit better than me? I asked him all this and more, and he swore that I was losing it and that he would never, ever, ever even have the desire to knit. So I'm like, okay, what happens when I look at our living room camera? And he was like, yeah, do it, because you're wrong, I didn't touch it. Security cameras from 11 p.m. the previous night showed me throw the hat out of camera view. It's a little basket by the end of the couch, blocked from view, but you can see the carpet beyond that. Even if he crawled to the basket to knit it, put it back, I would have seen him enter the room. There's no possible way to get in without me seeing you. So I watch the entire thing sped up. Doesn't jump, just moves at like 16 times speed. He never enters the room once in the 10 hours of footage I watched. Not once. Our son never enters the room. I never enter the room after I leave at 11 p.m. And yet there I was, holding a fully finished hat. On the security camera before I set it down, you can literally see me chuckling to myself at what a disaster it is. And I had not finished it. I accused him of tampering with the footage. He obviously could see that I was frantic and freaking out. And he's like, okay, maybe you did finish it, blah, blah, blah. I tell my husband all about this Reddit page, and I'm like, oh, crap. Check the carbon monoxide. These people talk about hallucinogenic mold and stuff. I need an MRI, etc. Hubby is so kind. He's like, okay, if that'll make you feel better, and has a guy come to the house. He comes Monday for a carbon monoxide check and whatever else they do. It cost us $190, but it was the best money I've ever spent. We're all good, nothing in the air that was poisonous. Okay, brain tumor, that's it. So I got into my doctor around 2 months later, March of 2019, told him the story. He doesn't want to order an MRI, but instead sends me to a psychiatrist. Fast forward to May of 2020, I hit my head on a rock while exiting a boat, bled a little, and then needed an MRI. No tumor. In fact, I'm very healthy. So, what the hell? I know I didn't knit that hat. To this day, I cannot knit even half as well as the bottom of the hat was. It was completed when he handed it to me. A few pieces of yarn needed to be trimmed, but that was it. I didn't knit that freaking hat. Do I still have the hat? No. It became a point of contention between my husband and I. Long story short, I didn't want to take it to Goodwill, and I burnt it in our fire pit instead. Avada Kedavra hat. A few years ago, I made a pen pal from another state through a website. We talked a lot, with very extensive and specific letters, for about a year and some months. She told me about her childhood, her high school experience, and what she was going through at the time. Her family, her house, her city, everything. One day, she tells me that she was going on a vacation and couldn't send letters, so she sends me her Instagram in case of an emergency, or if I wanted to talk to her. Honestly, I had tried to find her before on social media, but her name and surname were too common. We were very close, and I didn't like talking to my pen pals on social media, but one day I wanted to tell her about an accomplishment I had made. I go to the user she sent me, but it didn't seem very active. She had no bio, no profile picture, and only one photo. I recognize her face because we sent pictures of each other. I open the photo and see that it was from 2016, and it had so many comments. Weird, she had almost no followers. I thought maybe this isn't her main account anymore, but then I opened the comments. She was dead. Her comments were family members and friends she talked to me about. They were all giving their condolences and saying how much they missed her. I didn't know what to think, so I try and look up what happened to her. Apparently, someone had murdered her in early 2017, the year we started writing to each other. Thinking it was a bad joke, how could it be? Maybe she made it all up. I keep on writing letters as if nothing happened. I asked her specifically about 2017, though, if it was a good year or not. She tells me a lot of things that happened that year, and that she went out with a creepy guy for a while. I don't write her anymore after that and haven't received any letters from her, but this still haunts me. And I still don't understand what the hell happened there. The OP actually did add an update. After everyone told me that I was talking to the murderer, I got very freaked out. That never even crossed my mind, so I did some research and found out that they had two suspects. Her boyfriend and stepmother. And they both went to jail in 2018. But they released the stepmother a while later and closed the case, saying the boyfriend did it. He got many years, so he must still be in prison, hopefully. His name or face isn't public, of course, so I couldn't know for sure if he was free, but he probably isn't. Anyway, someone said it could have been a family member or friend not knowing how to cope, and I think that might be the most logical answer. I really felt like I was talking to her the whole time, though. But it could be that. I should do something more, try to reach out to someone who knew her, but it low-key scares me. Another clarification, the webpage we met through asks for ID pictures and a bunch of other stuff for security measures. It's designed for teenagers, and they don't want you to get catfished. So this happened yesterday in the afternoon. I was sitting with my family in my parents' room, just chilling and spending time, when my mother told me to go to the balcony. The balcony is connected to my parents' room, and lay the broomstick down as it was erected straight up against the wall. Here in my home country, there is a superstitious belief that broomsticks should never be kept straight up, as they cause fights. The broomstick was kept in such a manner that it was visible from the bed, as the curtains were open. My mother tells me to go lay the broomstick down on the floor, and I do so. I get up, and before I walk toward the balcony, I clearly remember my mother telling me to be careful, and the floor was wet. Keeping her warning in mind, I opened the balcony door and maneuvered over the wet areas and laid the broomstick down. Then shut the balcony door and joined my family in their conversation. Now, here's the twist. About 10 to 15 minutes later, my housemaid comes to my parents' room to inform us that she is done for the day and is leaving. And before she left my mother, she said this: "Don't leave the broomstick erected against the wall, always lay it down." It was all normal until my maid responded saying that. "Oh, I'm sorry, should I pick it up?" And my mother said, "No, it's fine, I'll ask my daughter, me, to do it." Freaked out, I turned to see that the very broom I had laid down was once again erected up against the wall. Alarmed, I exclaimed that I had just laid the broomstick down, so how was it back up again? Only to be met with the response, "No, you never laid it down." I was so freaked out. I asked my family over and over again that, are you guys playing a prank on me? Only to be met with genuine denial to the claim. I really don't know what to make of this. I first considered that my maid would have gone to the balcony, and that isn't really possible because she would have had to have gone through my parents' room to get into the balcony. According to my family, I only laid the broomstick down once, but in my memory, I did it twice. When I questioned my mother, asking her if she remembered telling me to be careful of the wet floor, only for her to tell me that she never said anything like that. I'm really confused and really don't know what to make of this. Have any of you ever experienced anything like this, or even remotely similar? I would really appreciate your thoughts, theories, or suggestions on this. This is probably the single most weirdest thing that has ever happened to me, and I still can't understand it. But both me and my friend experienced it. It was at some point at the end of 2018 or the start of 2019. I can't pinpoint when exactly, but I remember the cold winter weather in the UK, and me and my best friend were on the train to a shopping center we decided to visit, as we were too young to drive. The legal age to drive here is 17. We were 15 at this point, and I'm 17 now. Anyways, we reached the station before the shopping center station, and as we were passing the midpoint of both stations and heading closer to the shopping center, the air grew thick and everything around me felt more faint and dim. I sat in silence for almost a minute, and then me and my mate just look at each other, both scared, and I say, "What the hell is happening?" He replied, "I don't know, but that felt really weird." We both were creeped out and then just shrugged it off, thinking we were tired, but afterwards everything felt different. This feeling continued. I'd travel somewhere that I've been before and it just feels different. Like it's changed how I remember things before. I never felt this feeling before this weird moment on the train, but I recall looking out the window like, has everything changed, and just feeling like the world was completely different. It wasn't just me who felt like something weird and downright scary happened, as I could see the concern on my mate's face, and he was really creeped out. He spoke about it later, mentioning how weird that event on the train was and how he felt weirded out about it. I don't quite know what happened that day, but ever since then, things have just felt different. This happened in Yorkshire, if anyone wants to know. I really don't know what to think or how to explain what I'm about to say. I'm middle-aged from Iowa, married with 3 kids, and I've been working from home due to COVID. I sprawl out at the kitchen table with my laptop. Every now and then I get up and go out the sliding door to the deck to stretch my legs. Our house is on a corner lot, with the road to the right ending in an immediate cul-de-sac. There is a house immediately behind us, but the cul-de-sac is on the right. I just happened to look right this time. My neighbor's house on the right side was normal, and then flickered. I really don't know how to explain it. The house was as it always was, and then it flickered and the bottom left side of the house was normal, and the top right was green with white architectural lines coming off the points. The transition was cubes, so the bottom left was normal, then multicolored cubes, and then an architectural drawing for the top right. I just kept staring at the house, trying to figure out what I was seeing. Then the sky turned from a blue to a green. The best way to explain the sky is when you look at something curved, you know it's curved because of the shadowing. That's how the sky looked. Curved from behind the house to up and over the house. I felt like it was inside of a dome. The house site was about 5 seconds after the flicker, and then another second or two of the dome. I remember looking up and then to the left, and then a flicker, and then again, suddenly everything was normal. I know this sounds crazy, but I really don't know what to think. This just happened a couple of days ago. My friend sent me a link to an article about glitches in the Matrix, and I found this sub. Compared to other stories posted here, this one is tiny, even trivial. A few years back, during the course of one of my work meetings, I somehow came in possession of a good pen. What I mean by a good pen is one of those rare pens, and not particularly fancy either, that just seems to make you comfortable. It's comfortable in your hand, almost magically improves your handwriting, and seemingly has endless ink. And always makes for a perfect writing experience in the end. So this was a pen that I took great joy in using and extra care in storing. Anyway, one day I was working on something at my desk, trusty pen in hand, and I heard a strange sound come from my computer tower, located on the floor under my desk. At the moment, I started to bend down and take a look at the tower, and a powerful thought flashed through my mind. You will never see this pen again. Granted, this was one of those half thoughts that zooms by while your mind is focused on something else, the computer in my case. I put the pen down on the desk, rolled my chair back a few inches, bent over to look at the computer tower. Seeing no smoke, flames, or anything that was cause for alarm, I strengthened up and reached for my pen. Lo and behold, it was gone from the spot directly in front of me where I had put it a few seconds prior. I searched all around the desk, under papers, on my person, everywhere, to no avail. The damn pen was gone, and never seen again. I think about this small moment every so often, and to me it is a reminder that the world we live in has many, many secrets. I like to think that just as I mysteriously came into possession of it, it was now someone else's turn. I was getting out of work and my phone died. I needed to call my husband to pick me up, let's call him Tom, so I used a coworker's phone. I dialed his number, and the first time it didn't pick up. The second time, same number, it did pick up, and I'm like, oh, thank goodness he finally picked up. So here's how the conversation went. Hey Tom, I'm stuck at work. Can you please come pick me up? Who is this? Oh, my bad. I'm using a coworker's phone. It's me, my name. Can you come pick me up? Who? This is Tom, right? I then looked at the phone to see if I had the right number, and I did, and it legit sounded exactly like my husband. Yeah, this is Tom, but I don't know, my name. Tom, stop playing, please, pick me up. I'm sorry, you have the wrong number. And then he hangs up. I ended up just waiting on a bench outside of my work until my husband noticed I wasn't home. He came to pick me up and he said he didn't even get a call, like no ringing or anything. I checked his phone and it had 2 missed calls and 2 voicemails from my coworker's number. I listened to them, but they were just blank. It could have been a technical issue, but it appeared on his phone. I don't know, I can't really make sense of it, and I hope it fits on the sub. The first time this happened was about a year or 2. My dad and I were driving home from someplace. I can't remember where, but that doesn't matter. We had just gone around a roundabout, and were passing under a street lamp. It was pretty late, so it was dark outside, and all the lights in the car were off, but we had the brightest headlights on because of the dark, empty roads. Right after we passed a street lamp, everything went dark, like pitch black. We couldn't see anything even if it was an inch from our eyes, meaning that the headlights and street lamps would have had to have gone out at the exact same time, but I very highly doubt that. A second later, everything was back to normal. I looked at my dad in confusion, and he looked as confused as me. I asked what happened, and he had no idea. The second time, and most recent time this happened, was like a month ago. This time we were driving to pick something up, and it was pretty bright out, but the sun had begun to set. The headlights were on, of course, but the lights on the car were off. We were driving on the freeway with other cars around, and then there was a flash of darkness that just flew over the car, completely pitch black. We couldn't see anything. It was almost like being blind. Hey there, friends. I hope you guys enjoyed this collection of Glitch in the Matrix stories. This is the first time I've done one like this. Yeah, pretty fun stories, honestly. Not terribly creepy, minus the pen pal one. That one was actually kind of terrifying, not gonna lie. All of them have their own little interesting twist, and, yeah, just very neat stories, and I'm glad I was able to share them with you. Thank you to every one of the Redditors that let me use their story. That is greatly appreciated. And thank you to all you people for listening. I genuinely appreciate it. If you would like more content like this, or content that is so vastly different, it's like comparing Icy Hot to an Excel spreadsheet, please consider joining the Nevermore. To join the Nevermore, all you have to do is hit that subscribe button and the bell icon next to it. That's it. And then you're part of the Nevermore. You can support the growth of Nevermore by following me on Reddit, Twitter, Facebook, etc., or supporting me on Ko-fi or Patreon. All of these appreciated, and every single one of them... No. All of these optional, and every single one of them appreciated. I am tired, guys. I'm sorry. I don't know why I'm so tired right now, but I am exhausted. Alright, everyone. Have a fantastic week. I love you all. See you on the next video. But until then, much love, and sleep well.